So I wanted to make a follow-up post on my post from yesterday, which had to do with the whole knees in thing. So just a little background context. By the way, yesterday was just a really fun day on the internet. Thank you, Squat University. But anyways, in context, Squat University made this very kind of reductive post, basically saying 650-pound squat with a little bit of hip shift, with a little bit of knee cave, wasn't as impressive as a 500-pound squat with perfect technique. Now, the internet kind of blew up over this yesterday. So, Squat University, you obviously do a good job at riling up the crowd, have you? But anyways, so it seemed like things went kind of two routes on this post. One being that like the numbers were very important to people. Like 650 is very impressive on a squat. Absolutely it is. And 500 is honestly even impressive, but people were really set on if somebody can squat 650 with a little bit of breakdown in their technique, their 500 squat looks perfect and they can probably do it for like a ton of reps. To me, I went with a little bit of a different route. I wasn't too concerned with the numbers. Honestly, the numbers are kind of arbitrary to me. What I had a problem with is, and just reading through so many of these posts and reposts yesterday, was a couple things. One, people seem to draw a very straight line from technique or breakdown in technique or movement quality to injury. Now, first, injury prevention is not a thing. You can't prevent injury. You can't look into the future, and you'll never know for certain what's going to prevent injury. You can be driving a car and crash into a wall and be fine if you're driving 20 miles an hour. Now you drive 25 miles an hour, maybe still fine. 30 miles an hour, maybe still fine. Once you get up to 50, 60, okay, things are getting a little squirrely, but you really never know. And when we're talking about lifts with the barbell, it gets even more nuanced than that. So you will never know for certain what is going to cause injury because there's so many variables involved, and us humans are very complex. The world is very complex, and you'll just never truly know. So that's one thing I have a problem with. And then the second thing is there seems to be this idea of perfect technique. What is perfect technique? There is no such thing. Every individual is going to, and especially once you develop towards the further end of performance where you're lifting insane amounts of weights, everyone's going to develop their own kind of idiosyncratic movement, like efficiencies to lift the most amount of weight they can. If you go to a powerlifting meet, you'll never, like all squat technique or all squats look pretty different from one another, and all these people are putting up insane weights. So are you going to say one of these people has perfect technique and all the others don't? So perfect technique doesn't really exist. Everyone's different, everyone's structure is different, and the strategy people use to lift heavy weights is going to be a little bit idiosyncratic to lift that weight. So there's this kind of like fear-mongering kind of instilling of a fragile mindset when we're always worried about like, if you start lifting this way, you're going to get hurt. And we all should know the good old nocebo effect by now. And there's plenty of research done on this that basically says the more you kind of instill this mindset in somebody, essentially, the more likely they are to actually getting hurt. So the more it's almost kind of like a paradox in a way. The more we try to prevent injury and instill this mindset in people of if you lift a certain way, you're likely going to get hurt, actually further kind of makes it more likely for them to actually get hurt. So A, we should just stop doing that, and B, humans are not these super fragile creatures where you get a little bit outside of the norm or outside of your usual technique that you're just going to like bust a knee. So that's what I basically have to sum it up. I don't really care about the numbers. Those are just kind of arbitrary to me, but you can't draw a straight line of this technique or this moving in this way, knees in, is going to lead to injury. You can't know that. You will never know that. Now, you can make the case that some ways doing something over time under significant load, continuing to load positions in a way, might be more likely to increase your chance of injury. That's a little bit more reasonable, but you can't ever draw a straight line because you never know. We just live in uncertainty, and we have to start getting comfortable with that. And B, no such thing as perfect technique. It's very kind of idiosyncratic among individuals. And end of the day, 650-pound squat, I think most people would want to have. Toodaloo.